First of all, I want to thank Pavel and Gordon for having me here. It's really nice to be back in beautiful Kiev. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm the CEO and founder of Beyond Enterprises. Beyond Enterprises is an advisory firm in the blockchain space, and we form 360 partnerships with different projects, governments, funds, and help them implement blockchain in a best practices way. Me personally, I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I've been building technology, both hardware and software, for almost 40 years now, and found a new passion with blockchain. So, why are we here? We've seen a lot of really good technical and in-depth presentations about blockchain and legal aspects of it and technical aspects of it. But I want to take the conversation a few notches higher and ask, why are we here? Because for me, I'm here because we're building the foundations of our future societies with blockchain. And a lot of the times, if you're just focusing on your own project or getting to profitability or raising funds, I think that notion is lost on a lot of entrepreneurs. So I'm gonna go back a few decades and just talk about the internet a little bit. And this is because I wanted to give this presentation because I got asked several times last year, hey Brad, what's the next step for you? What are you gonna do next? And that was a shocking question because it wasn't what new projects are you working on, it's what's after blockchain. And to me it was shocking because I always said I'm long in everything I invest in, every project I participate in, and someone coming and asking me what I'm gonna do now because we have a bear market kind of broke my heart. I mean, I said, of course, I'm going to stay in blockchain and keep building. But then the internal dialogue I had with myself was, wow, a lot of people are exiting the space because for them, it was just a short money grab. You know, they got in 2017, made a little bit money or not a lot, I mean, whatever happened. And then in 2018, with the correction in the market, started suffering, especially those who held a lot of crypto, and started looking to new things. And I started looking back to what I was doing 10, 20 years ago to see where I want to be. And so, for me, the internet was not necessarily a technical revolution. Obviously, it was amazing technology and connectivity, but for me, internet digitally connected the world, the people together. I mean, before the internet, you would have to travel to another country to trade with them. You'd have to go somewhere else to live there to learn their culture. Now, today, you can't probably even think about a life without ordering stuff online and whatever you want to learn, going on YouTube and searching for it. So when you have that kind of access, it changed the society, its fabric from ground up. It wasn't, just like Gordon said, it wasn't an incremental improvement in what we were doing before. It was a paradigm shift. With blockchain, I think we're on the cusp of having very similar phenomenon here. I personally believe and firmly believe that blockchain brings us together as people more so than any other technological innovation. So it's not just an exercise in building something new or building something decentralized, but it's bringing people together, closer. And this happens through decentralization and disintermediation. And we're here because we want to be a part of this technological revolution. I call it a revolution, but it's also an evolution as we are changing the way we approach building stuff. We're going from centralized models where you had a server structure and peers had to connect to it to access whatever information or service you were providing, to a decentralized model, which allows you to be everywhere in the world at once. So you don't need to think about how do I capture my home market first. You can say, how do I work with everyone across the globe? But it all starts with us. So we need to change the way we approach building blockchain technologies and businesses. I say this because a lot of the times, me as an entrepreneur, the main focus is how do I build the technology and how do I have enough money to build that technology. So fundraising, building, and then you think about what's the impact. I think if you change that on its head a little bit, you will see better results as far as the progression of your project goes. Because instead of thinking, what am I building? How am I going to get it funded? If you started thinking, what is this going to change? What problem am I solving? I mean, we saw a lot of problem slides in the previous presentations. And they're great. You know, it's one slide on the pitch deck. They talk about this is the problem and this is what we are solving. But I think if we started there and thought about why am I building this? Why is this important? Then the business use case comes together a lot more organically than building something and trying to sell it. A few examples of the real problems that we can solve. So for me, obviously the low-hanging fruit and the easiest application of blockchain is in global capital markets. You know, if we, and we have been, democratize access to capital for different projects, that solves a big problem of not being in Silicon Valley, not having to have a lot of access to investors in wealthy countries. And I've heard this throughout my journeys in the past 2 years in many different countries where people were excited about blockchain, excited about ICOs, excited about STOs because of the fact that it was an equalizer. Now they had more access to the funding they needed to build stuff. So that's one problem that we're solving with blockchain. Second one is universal access to financial products and banking. We have over 2 billion people in our planet that's underbanked or unbanked. This is a huge opportunity for everyone in this room to build something to give those people access. And again, this may be too high level. You may think, Brad, you know, that's not relevant or applicable to me because I'm pretty sure everyone in this room has ATM cards, credit cards. They have access to some level of banking. But if you think about, you know, being in 2019 and people not having access to reliable banking, you will see the level, the greatness of opportunity there. Because if you could build a solution and do it globally, not only you're going to positively impact lives of 2 billion people, but you're going to reap the financial rewards too. Identity is another problem. And I'm sure you guys have heard this before. These are not new, novel concepts. I just wanted to bring them back up to the forefront of the conversation because if you start building an identity solution that works, and we've had identity solutions launch in the blockchain space in the past 2 years. So there's several examples of what has been done and how relevant it was to the problem at hand. You can do better. This is a big one. Obviously, we saw a couple presentations prior to mine. Disintermediation of global trade markets. What does this mean? Any business opportunity, any trade opportunity where there are middlemen can be disintermediated, can be revolutionized with blockchain. So again, when you're looking to build something or you're looking at your project and thinking, how am I going to monetize this? You can always find ways to reduce the middleman, reduce the fees taken by people in the middle of a transaction, whether it be a bank transaction with SWIFT or other intermediaries, or it could be just pure trade. You know, you build something in Ukraine and you want to sell it globally, but you're using a bunch of intermediaries. You can find a blockchain solution to remedy that. This is a project that I've been actively working on. That's why I think you know, this is a problem that hopefully we're going to solve in the near future, and it's disintermediation of global job markets. Right now, if you're in UK or Ukraine or in India and you want to get a project from United States, you have to use an intermediary. You either have local companies that you work for, or you go to a site like Upwork, Fiverr, you name it, more specialized ones, and you try to get work that way. What we're building is a platform that connects people who have worked with those who have the skill set to work it, but doesn't take 30% of the fees to itself. So we've virtually eliminated the fee structure from a job platform. And again, I'm not saying this is the only solution. I'm just saying this is an opportunity for you to build something where you connect the jobs that are available with people who can do them and not take 30%. Our ecosystem is hurting right now. Whether you believe that there's global warming or you don't believe there's global warming, but there's a problem with deforestation and what have you, you're going to think, well, blockchain is such a complex technology. It's so technical and digital. What does that have to do with rainforests? Well, go check out Poseidon, because they found a way to connect rainforests and preservation of rainforests through use of Stellar blockchain with people who care about their environment enough to take action for it. So again, this is a real use case of blockchain that impacts our lives today, not 2 years from now, not 10 years from now. This is today. You can use blockchain and connect it with real world problems. Just like tokenization of assets, precious metals, you can tokenize real problems and create a global movement to solve them. And again, I've always been passionate about blockchain, the technology itself, learning different ways it can be implemented. But blockchain technology in and itself is not the answer. So I think we need to think more about the use cases and how we can make it have a larger impact in real world issues so that we can gain more adoption. I mean, I'm sure everyone in this room wants the blockchain market cap to grow back to 800 billion, a trillion, even more. And the quickest way to get there is not to talk among ourselves and think, how am I going to get more investors, or how am I going to get more crypto people in my project? The fastest way to market growth is bringing non-crypto people, people you've never owned a crypto asset, a token, a coin, and capture their attention and interest so that they come and join us. Not that we're doing everything among ourselves, which is great because we have a strong community, but I think it's important to grow, and this is the path to growth. We need more real-world use cases for blockchain. And as much as I love new blockchains, platform plays, protocol plays, I actively invest in those so they fit perfectly with my thesis, we need real-world use cases for the blockchain economy to grow. And they can only come with sustainable business models. Because one thing we learned in 2018, if any of you tried to raise funds, is it's become increasingly difficult to get theoretical projects funded. But if you have a sustainable business model attached to it, now more traditional investors are looking into your projects and are getting interested in it. Because we have the technology, we just need to build business models around it. So why am I talking about rainforests and job platforms and all these things? Because I firmly believe that high social impact eventually equates to high financial returns. Again, if you don't start with the money, but you start with change, you will see that if you can positively impact 1 million lives, the financial return is going to be there. You just have to reorder the thought process, reorder the business process, and start thinking about what is the impact my project will have. What is it? What does it look like? How many people? Where in the world this is going to make sense? And then backtrack from there to, obviously, how do I get to profitability? How do I make money? And it goes hand in hand. So the more lives you impact positively, the higher the chances that you're going to have handsome returns for it, because you're doing something positive that reaches a big audience. It solves the problem of who is my customer base, who are my early adopters, how am I going to convert them to paying customers. So I want to acknowledge that it's been a tough year for all of us in blockchain, 2018, but we don't need to get stuck in a bear market. Bear markets historically in blockchain have been great opportunities to build something. And I say, let's start building the future we want. Thank you.